Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Craig Blanchett, and I'm a optimal health coach, and this is our weekly Healthy Huddle, and so it's my pleasure and really my honor to bring to you this weekly health class. The reason why we do this every week is, and I really want to emphasize the reality that if you want to stop dieting and yo-yoing, we've got to learn to practice the things that we know are true. And many of us will learn healthy habits, but then we don't practice them. And a habit that's not practiced it doesn't do us any good. And so this weekly health class, we go over stories of people that are having successes, and that encourages us and inspires us to not quit or to not temporarily check out, I guess is a better word. And then the other thing that it does is when we can hear how somebody else has gotten through a challenge or is working through something, and we can all learn from that when we stay in community. And so tonight, every week now for the next few weeks until the next challenge starts, we're going to do a healthy cooking segment. So Stephanie and Gigi have put together these really great videos on a healthy cooking. So not only does it taste great, that's the first requirement, but it has to also be healthy too. And we're going to go through Sloppy Joe with zucchini. So we're going to show you how to do that. I will have the recipe in a link in the chat here in a minute. And then we're going to talk about the habit of sleep, and I'm going to go through a couple topics of sleep. We've just had a daylight savings change, and so it's kind of messing a lot of us up with that 1 hour difference. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then also, if we have time, we'll go over a couple of traveling strategies. If some of you will be traveling in the future, and I've got some things that I have done when I'm getting ready to travel, and bringing on what we call a health ally. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the video here. I have somebody that's trying to join the session here that I'm sending out the link. Good. Okay, so we got that going. Let me share my screen here. And we're going to go screen share over there, full screen. Share with computer sound. All right, so here is Healthy, Tasty, and Easy with Steph and Gigi, and tonight's episode is going to be covering Sloppy Joes. So here we go.
Hi, today we are going to show you how to make sloppy joes. And after we get the sloppy joe mixture done, we're going to show you how to portion it into serving portions in the freezer to make later. You cook up 32 ounces of ground turkey, and after it's cooked, it becomes 21 ounces, which is exactly what the recipe calls for. You then add 1 tablespoon of onion flakes. You add 1 teaspoon of chili powder. You add 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, a quarter of a teaspoon of celery seed, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, a half a cup of water, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire, and 1 cup of low sodium canned diced tomatoes. You then mix up this mixture till it's mixed well, and we let it simmer. You want to let it simmer for a few minutes so it gets all the flavors of all the spices, and so it cooks down so it's just really nice and flavorful. So what we're doing is we're getting dinner ready for a few nights during the week when you come home and you're tired and you don't know what to cook and you don't want to think about it. And we're going to put it in the muffin tins. We're going to put some in the Rubbermaid. You can, like I said, also use Ziploc bags. And then once it's frozen, you can take it out of these muffin tins and put it into, whatever container you want to use. After you get your sloppy joe mix into your muffin tins, make sure you take a spoon and kind of press on it, because that will tell you that obviously this is a 1/4 cup and this is a 1/2 cup. So that's 1 serving, that's 1 serving, and that's 1 serving. We're now going to show you how to make zucchini noodles with a spiralizer. You cut the one end a little bit off, about that much, and then you cut a little bit of the other end off. You push it onto this little round thing, and then you put the pokey ends into the other side. You kind of push on this, and then you just turn, and you have zucchini noodles. A lot of people really like the zucchini because it's more like noodles. You now take the zucchini noodles, put them in the microwave for about 30 to 45 seconds, depending on how done you like them, whether you want them a little crunchy or not. In the meantime, you take your sloppy joe out of the freezer. If you've done it into muffin tins, it pretty much plops right out if you put the warmth of your hand on the bottom of the muffin pan. And you put the serving, which is 3/4 cup of your sloppy joe, into the microwave for about 2 minutes. That seems to be about perfect to get them warm enough. Okay, you take your zucchini out of the microwave, and then you take your sloppy joe mixture out of the microwave, and you put the sloppy joe over your zucchini noodles. And to make it a complete lean and green meal, you need to add 1/4 cup of Parmesan and 1/4 cup of mozzarella to get your complete lean. This is a complete lean and green meal.
Okay, so there we go. So we have Stephanie on right now, and so if you guys, I put the link to the recipe in the chat window, so you can click on that so you have the actual ingredients, and then I'll put a link to the actual video as well in the chat window, so that you guys can go back and watch that again later if you want to actually make that. And so if you guys have a question about any portion of how that was made, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then Steph's here to answer those questions. Or any comment or anything like that. Go ahead and jump in.
I actually have a question. Me.
Yeah.
Hello. My question is, does it have to be zucchini, or can we use anything else?
You can use spaghetti squash. You could use riced cauliflower.
Okay.
trying to think of what else you could. I mean, and actually, you can just have the sloppy Joe with a salad.
Yeah,
So
we
just
have.
did it over the zucchini noodles to be kind of fun and also to show people how to do the zucchini noodles. But the zucchini noodles is just your green portion.
Yeah, and I've done. What have I done? I had butter leaf lettuce. But we had that tonight. We didn't do the sloppy Joe thing, but we just had lettuce wraps with the mixture, the sloppy Joe mix inside, and a little bit of tapatio sauce on top. And we had that literally tonight. So that's another option. The main thing is keeping the whatever wrapper you're having be low glycemic, and then which zucchini is kind of a new fun way. We've also done the noodles, shirataki mushroom noodles. You can buy those. Well, at the grocery store here, they're sort of in the organic vegetables section, refrigerated, and they smell really crazy, kind of like dirty socks, but they don't taste that way. They actually taste pretty good. Maybe they smell like fermented mushrooms. I don't know. But and we've done that kind of sauce, that sloppy Joe mix you can make in lots of different things, or you can add to lots of different things. Even the high fiber tortilla shells, you could have it be for that. We just made up a bunch of it and then froze it, and then we thaw it and then eat it during the week, which is nice and easy. So thanks, Richard. Glad to see you back. Anybody else have a question or a comment about some varieties of sloppy Joe or other things you may have used like that? Okay. Well, hopefully this will give you guys some ideas of things to do in a new recipe. We're going to have one new recipe every week on the Huddle. And so hopefully you guys will try one of these recipes. And did anybody try the cauliflower crusted pizza that we talked about from last week? Anybody? Yeah, a couple people. Jamie did. Do you want to give us a little your experience with that, or how it tasted, or any takeaways?
I think the hardest thing with cauliflower crust is just to get it mixed right. So just keep trying is my biggest thing. We made a bunch one night and then I froze it. We had a great success with the frozen ones. The trick with the frozen cauliflower crust is to thaw it completely before you bake it. Otherwise, you'll get ice crystals in your soggy mess of pizza. So
good tip.
That's my tip. But we love it. It's great to feel like you can eat a whole pizza and not feel gross at the end. So that's something that we love. So it's good.
It's perfect. That is such real world tips, folks, right there. There you go. Can't get any better than that. So thank you there, Jamie. All right. Anybody else have an experience with it? Yeah, Kathy.
I missed the recipe, but I fear when I make a pizza like that I'm not getting the proper portions. Is the recipe somewhere?
Yeah. Let's see. You're in the Optimal Health community. Let me just make sure you're in there. KATH1. Yeah. So what I'll do is I will get it from Steph, and I'm going to check. Actually, if you go to the Optimal Health community, let me just show you this really quick. This is fun for everybody. Woohoo! We're having a ball.
It's Sandy's Kitchen. Sandy's Kitchen. I think it might be sandyskitchen.com.
Yeah.
But it's got all kinds of recipes.
Yep. And if you go to the Optimal Health community and click on files, the second one down says cauliflower pizza. And so I put the recipe in there, back in 2014. So that has been a popular one. So you can check that out, click on cauliflower pizza, and then it'll have the recipe in here.
Okay.
So
Steph, and I just have kind of a clarification on that. Just when you made that Steph, and when you're preparing the cauliflower and mixing it up with the cheese, the egg, or whatever you're using as a binder, were you squeezing or wringing out the cauliflower first to wring out the excess fluid from par cooking?
There's no excess liquid if all you do is rice the cauliflower. You do not need to pre-cook it. Just rice it, grate it, chop it. Do not cook it. That's what gets the excess water, and that's what makes it soggy. It does not need to be cooked at all.
You know what you do
happens.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You know what you do is you have this big, huge head of cauliflower, and you just cut it in chunks, and then put them in a food processor or blender, and it chops it right up into granules. Almost like you can use it as rice, which you would have to steam in the microwave, or else follow the recipe.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that process is called ricing, and essentially chopping it up in fine bits in a food processor. I think they call that ricing. So you're exactly right, Eileen.
And a lot of recipes tell you to cook it in the microwave for a few minutes. And every time anybody does that, and I don't know why the recipes still continue to say that, mine don't, but
amateurs.
Then you have excess liquid. And the first question I ask when people say my cauliflower crust didn't turn out, I said, tell me what you did. Oh, well, I chopped it, I riced it, whatever, and I cooked it a little bit. I said, that's your mistake. Do not cook it. Use it raw and mix the cheese and the egg beaters, and then you can even put a few spices if you want, but then it comes out nice and crispy and wonderful.
Perfect. Man, this is some real world good stuff. I'm glad we're recording this because this will be helpful for everybody. I know that we've done the cauliflower crust. We did it so much we kind of got sick of it, and then we had to go away from it for a while because we had so much of it, and so we'll bring it back again. But we like a couple things that we really like. You can do a number of things with cauliflower. Our staple, you can buy this at Trader Joe's, and you can get pre-riced cauliflower in the frozen food section. And what we'll do with that is we will here's a really simple recipe. It's 3 ingredients: green beans, ground beef, and salsa. That's it. I mean, I cook, and so I'm a guy, and I like minimal things, minimal processes to cooking things. And so you just grill up your ground turkey, you put your green beans, canned or fresh, and you put your salsa, and you just let it kind of simmer there, and that's it. And then I take a cauliflower, rice it, and then I just pan fry it to kind of soften it a little bit, and that's your rice. And you put your goulash mixture over the top of it, and literally it is the simplest, tastiest lean and green. We do that probably twice a month here, because it's just one of our top 5 recipes that we've adopted here at our house, so that every week we make sure we have the ingredients for those top 5 things that you usually would cook, and that we like. So the cauliflower you can do lots of wonderful things with cauliflower. And now you guys have essentially a sloppy Joe mix with zucchini, which is kind of fun. So thank you, Stephanie, for that segment. Next week, we are going to do, let me pick one for next week. We're going to do, what do you think, Steph, between revolution rolls or scones?
Well, the scones is totally a metafast.
It's totally a metafast meal. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's made with oatmeal. It's made with the metafast oatmeal, and it's absolutely fabulous. But, so, I mean, they're both real quick and easy. We could actually maybe do both of them.
Okay, so next week.
And they'd have a metafast recipe, and they'd also have the revolution rolls that are absolutely to die for.
Well, there you have it. Okay, so that'll be for next week. So thank you for putting those videos together, you and Gigi, and we will cover that next week. Feel free, by the way, folks, to invite folks to come to this. This is just healthy living, really. It's a community of healthy living stuff, and we're going to learn some fun stuff. We don't really talk specific 5-in-1 strategies here. We can, but really we want to make this about health and not just about the 5-in-1. And so you're welcome to invite some folks to come and And if you guys have a fun recipe, you want to email me in advance, we might be able to share some of those, some other recipes as well. Recipes always seem to be fun. For me, I like some recipes. If I get too many, I get overwhelmed. And so I try to have, Stephanie's can overwhelm me very quickly. Stephanie's my mom, for those of you that don't know. And so I'll ask for recipes, and she can if I can get overwhelmed very quickly. And so what my strategy for that is to pick one lean and green that you actually make each week. Just one. And eventually over 2 months, you'll be 8 recipes that you have tried that were new. And hopefully you can find 2 or 3 that you like, and then keep those in your mix while you continue to try new things. And so you'll make 7 meals a week roughly. And if you try 1 per week, so it gives you something to kind of build your recipe repertoire without being overwhelmed. So that's one of the strategies that I've used. And that seems to work well. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the habit of sleep. We've got about 5 minutes, so I'm not going to go too much. I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. For those of you that don't know, we actually cover each week. Actually, maybe we'll just do that. At the bottom of the hour at 6:30, we do what we call Take Shape for Life University. And lots of health coaches, as well as just many of our clients, will stay on. And we're going through Dr. A's Habits of Health book. And we've done this for 3 years now. And we usually start at chapter 1 and we work our way to the end. Well, this year we decided to start at the end of the book and work our way to the beginning. And so we started at 26 and now we're to chapter 17. And so at 6:30, we're going to be talking in depth about the chapter. But the main thing to talk about with your sleep that was that stood out to me a lot was the whole idea of winding your day down and preparing yourself to get healthy sleep. There's so many benefits of sleep. Your body actually repairs itself. A lot of your hormones get remanufactured to be able to be used the next day. Your dopamine levels, a lot of different things are basically refueled while you're sleeping. And so if you don't get good sleep, you can start feeling the effects of that in your daily health. But one of the biggest things for shutting down the day is light. And so you have this little this magic light sensor. It's called the pituitary gland, but we're going to talk about magic and light. And one of the things about it is that it senses light. And so when you dim the lights as you get closer to bedtime, it's your light sensor almost tells your body you're getting ready to prepare for sleep. Now, here's one of the things that I haven't heard anybody talk about this, but this is something that strikes me, is usually I brush my teeth right before I get into bed. How about anybody else here? Yeah, pretty common. Got it. Yeah. And so bathrooms generally, are they bright or are they dim? Most bathrooms, are made for looking at yourself in the mirror. And so they're bright so you can see, all the stuff on your face or putting on makeup or your hair or whatever. And so bathrooms usually have a lot of light. And so I was thinking about this. What if we were all to go buy a nightlight that was light sensitive? So in the evening, the light came on, and the daytime it turned itself off. And so when we went in to brush our teeth, we didn't turn on that super bright light right before we're trying to get our bodies to wind down to get to sleep. And that little night light was on. And so we could brush our teeth, we could get kind of ready for bed, and then climb into bed and keep the lights dim. Because if you flash your face with the light, it can awaken that pituitary gland. The other thing that's really, reading a book is really a good thing, because books don't have any backlight. But reading like an iPad or a computer or your phone or watching TV, you want to limit that within 30 minutes. If you have trouble sleeping, you want to kind of keep your backlit screens you want to put them to bed too. So your backlit screens get put to bed 30 minutes before you put yourself to bed. And that is going to help. Again, it's probably not going to solve all of your sleep problems, but it's a cascade with the light in the bathroom, with the lights, with your reading devices or your communication devices. If you turn those off within 30 minutes, you'll start to have better sleep. If you sleep with an eye mask that covers this gland, your pituitary gland, and is really black, and then earplugs, those are all really, really healthy sleep strategies. And you probably don't know how good you can feel by getting the 7 to 8, minimum 7, optimum 8 hours a night of sleep. But shoot for that. We're going to be talking more strategies here in the next segment with our Take Shape for Life University. And so if you want to stay on and I've piqued your interest, you're welcome to stay on. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now and button this one up, and I will be right back for the next